Okay, one way to get Natalie fired up is to start attacking taxpayers, especially the middle class that have paid more than their fair share. So I've been doing some little research on old H&R Block. You know, those pain in the tail ends for most of us tax professionals. You know, that we went to school to become proper tax collectors, and then we find out when we get into the industry how corrupt it is and how it's all in interpretation. So I came across a video. It's cato.org, and the blog, it's entitled H&R Black IRS Unholy Alliance Ransack Taxpayers. And that's how I'm starting this off. H&R Black, an unholy alliance to ransack taxpayers. Yep, sounds about right now, doesn't it? I always knew something was fishy about their business practices, but I just couldn't quite put my finger on their corrupt business practices until meeting a guest here at the resort that retired from running an H&R Block location. Mind blown. Hold that thought. Each tax preparer, although they call them tax professionals, and we'll discuss their qualifications later, after they go through their H&R Block's training program, gets a commission based on what they charge you for your taxes. Now you understand why they push the peace of mind insurance. I don't know. Don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Your choice, but just know that whatever city, county, and surrounding areas I amended H&R Block returns, it was always the same story. But first, before I could really paint the picture, was I had to have each client that came into my office after they had gone to H&R Block and go back with a list of the forms to complete their tax return that they more than overpaid for. It's amazing, if I didn't send a list, what they would provide them with. More of their so-called fluff is what I called it. I literally, because the tax, they came in that dreaded freaking bloody envelope. You pull it out and it's a hot mess. So this is what I did, because nothing was stapled. No wonder the banks loved my stuff, because it was an order. So this is what I would do. I'd go, okay, this is fluff, this is fluff, this is fluff. Oh, here's tax, this is fluff. Oh, here's another form. Okay, so you don't have your Indiana tax return. Let's start with that one. And you're missing multiple schedules within your tax return, but you have all this shit, and that's what I call it. It was a pile of shit. Because this pile of shit was all about their rules and regulations and peace of mind insurance and all their nonsense. Yeah, you want to start getting up into the middle class taxpayers? Yeah, you're just adding fuel to my Holy Spirit burning inside of me. I'm gonna tell you right now, because I cannot deal with this at all. So just so you know, those locations that you normally go to could potentially be closing, because as of July 23rd, there's over 400 closing. 400. The law is clearly stated. Each tax preparer is to provide each taxpayer with a complete copy of the tax return. But instead, I found all their bogus fluff constantly. Oh, it made me so angry. Talk about a half-assed copy of a tax return. Lord, it's my bestest description of their ongoing corruption and deception. Please forgive me. One new client, without even looking at their backup, I asked how much contract labor they had the year before. I knew the answer before they told me. You see, H&R Block tax professionals double dipped. on their return and did not like being the recipient of the bad news. With me telling them that their taxes were prepared wrong for years was not well received. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to tell you. It was their choice if they wanted to amend them or not. I just told them how much it was going to owe. But they could go back to H&R Block and tell them they prepared them wrong and have them fix it, pay all the penalties and interest. Just saying. I could not even, for one of my business clients, small business clients, I couldn't even get a complete fixed asset depreciation schedule. They just kept providing me different ones. Finally, I had to take their fixed assets that were sporadic and recalculate them to go with a tax return to see where the depreciation was. What a freaking nightmare. True story. Oh, and the location that, they say, well, you could come back. Yeah, well, they're not always open. Of course, they don't tell you that part either. When they hook you into that peace of mind insurance, which they're getting the cut from. See how the corruption is? So here's the H&R Block education requirements. This is classic. That's why they can't answer any of your questions, because frankly, they do not know. They don't have the schooling, and as far as I'm concerned, they're ignorant to the law. So here's their education requirements for a tax professional within H&R Block. It's not a matter of education, but age. Their website states H&R Block requires students to be 18 years of age to attend the income tax course. A GED or diploma, however, is not required. Are you following yet? The source document for that is H&R Block, Become a Tax Preparer. This is not to say that all H&R Block employees are uneducated, inexperienced, and remain so. However, the bar is set low for entry-level tax preparers, tax professionals in their language. H&R Block uses an in-house course to train individuals, and within as fast as 3 days, they can be a certified tax preparer based on H&R Block's standards. For those savvy individuals that need proactive tax advice and strategies to manage, mitigate, and minimize their tax burdens, they would be in the market for an educated, licensed, and certified tax preparer. I will drop in the description the source documents linking to it. And only 12 companies throughout the world were allowed and authorized by the IRS to be one of their transmittal third-party central hubs for e-filing. You smell the rats yet? Oh, I smell them. I smelled them a long time ago. I just needed time to be down so I could use my brain for good. I did enough of man's world, and being out in the wilderness is way more fun because now I'm just seeking justice all over the place. Hannah Grace. She sees her friend in the pool that's a diver, and she's all bent out of shape. So anyway, all I can tell you is get your houses in order. Go out into the wilderness and don't conform. Because this tyrant regime is just getting worse by the second. Surrender to him, and I'm going to tell you, can't go wrong. More and more people are selling everything and traveling the world. Just saying. There's some movies about that. Maybe I'll remember and drop those in the comments too. So I just wanted to give people my quote unquote, I don't want to say expertise because there are certain adjectives and verbs that you cannot use to describe yourself. So how about the years of constant learning at Tax Club? Because, people that are on their own have to and are certified, which I couldn't pass that stupid bloody test. That is the stupidest thing. That does not at all. Don't a person qualified, I don't care what they say. I've had them in my office. I've seen their work. And not one of them within my group of colleagues that I knew we're getting business sent to them from the IRS office. Just saying. And they want to know how I got that gig. I said, well, I'm an honest tax preparer. And they knew my tax returns were solid as rock. That's how I got the business. It's that simple. So, when you think they're not coming after you, well, think again. Because if your bank account does not coincide with your tax return, guess what? Ding, ding, ding. They're going to be knocking on your door. They're going to want to know where all that money came from. All that outside money that you didn't report on your taxes. And don't think they won't do it. If they've hired 87,000 more agents on top of the 80,000 they already have, trust me, they already know what they're going to be looking at. Why else would this puppet show that's part of the tyrant regime, anything over $600 deposited in the bank account, they have access to look at. Give me a break. They've been accessing your records long before you could ever imagine. So, my advice to you is get your houses in order because the IRS is going to come knocking at your door. Are you going to be there? It's up to you. It's your choice. Conform to man's world, go out into the wilderness. Your choice. I choose the wilderness because the wilderness, it's under God. And hey, my last supper lasted 3 days and I'm still here. Yesterday, I had a little bit of lobster left, so I made a grilled cheese with lobster in it. That was quite delightful. So, who knows what today's going to bring, but I already know what my next art project is going to be regarding. It's all about taxes. Oh, Lord. And I started making notes last night because it was just like bing, bing, bing. My creativity is on steroids because of the symbolism. I'm on this walk with him. So there's no telling where he leads me. But right now it's my artwork. It's going to be up for sale. It's going to be up for auction to sustain my living. Just saying. As I'm fighting the system and fighting for my life every day from the poisons this tyrant regime has poisoned us all with. Some are worse than others. Some are ravaged with cancer. Some are on their deathbeds. Some are awaiting those deathbeds and trying to fight like me. But I'm too freaking strong to give up. And I refuse to bow down to them. And I refuse to wave a white flag. They need to be waving a white flag to we the people for all their corrupt business practices. It's that freaking simple. Read Article 7 of the United Nations Code, and you will clearly see how they have violated it. Just saying. It's crystal clear. Doesn't need interpretation. Any person that knows how to read can understand it. It's that crystal clear of language. So, I might find that link and drop it in too. So, that's all for now. Stay tuned. I'm sure I'm going to be talking about taxes the more I uncover some more. Man, now I wish I had those books with all my notes in it, but I'm pulling them out of my file cabinet in my head of put this back in the round file for later, or not the file cabinet, my round file cabinet of woohoo, it makes the world go round and we got to figure out how we're going to stop it. So, be the people, unite in love under God. That's how we stop this. Love to all bunches and bunches. Bye.